Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video doing USA forecast for today's second video. So as was on Wednesday, we're having a look at the weather for the United States. This is an extended forecast, so we'll look at the ECMWF extended for the next 6 weeks. That'll be a little bit later on the video. I want to start off though with a big cold plunge that's coming into North America for Christmas. The first major severe cold outbreak of the season on the way. Right now, actually, I'm going to develop over the next couple of days, so I shall look at that to start off with. Then we'll do the extended look here. If you enjoy videos on the channel at the moment, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We started off with the 6 a.m. upload, and we're going to be live streaming at 6 p.m. this evening. We'll live stream our 10 to 14 there, so I shall see you then live, I think. Let's have a look at the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles then to start off with. So, look at New York City. I was there a couple of weeks ago. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for NYC. You can see that at the moment it's about average with the upper air temperatures. They are actually going to tick up a little bit around Friday, and then we get one of the dramatic plunges that they can get in the States. So we go from nearly 10 degrees at 850 down to minus 20 through the course of Christmas Eve and into Christmas Day. It looks bitterly cold with those upper air temperatures, really severe. There is a recovery in the upper air temperatures then taking place through the Christmas week, so by the time we get into the new year, we've actually gone milder than average again. So this is only a very brief but very severe cold plunge, and then the cold will retreat back towards Canada as we get in towards the new year and into the beginning of January. There is also going to be precipitation involved with this as well. So you can see there's a large precipitation spike just here. That's going to be taking place around Friday into Christmas Eve. That, of course, is on an active cold front, so initially that probably brings rain, and then heavy snow is likely to develop. So a proper old white Christmas, I think, for many northern and eastern parts of America to come. Temperature anomalies, excuse me, everybody, temperature anomalies, colder than average across many parts of the state. It's milder than average out west. So, like California, looks relatively mild and quite warm for this week from the 21st to 29th December. But most central, eastern, northern parts of America looking very cold, particularly so through the Midwest and on into the east, with very substantially below average temperature anomalies. And precipitation anomalies look like that. Drier than average across the southern states, more settled in the north. Of course, as they're going to be, it's going to be cold. This precipitation is going to be snow across many northern, eastern, northeastern parts of America. So let's have a look then, see what's going on. We've got an area of low pressure across northeastern parts of Canada at the moment. Otherwise, relatively mild across much of the states right now. But watch this, a big cold plunge on this big area of low pressure develops in the next 24 hours or so. This low pressure plunging in from Canada on the eastern side of that low. We're drawing up some quite warm air from the south. That's where the push up in the temperature comes around Friday. But on the northern side of the area of low pressure, we pull down this very cold air from the north. This low pressure comes sweeping through the Midwest as we get through Friday into Christmas Eve, and then pushes into the northeast. So basically this is a vortex plunging down into the far north and eastern midwestern part of America, bringing bitterly cold air and heavy snow as well. That's Christmas Eve, and what a chart for Christmas Eve that is. Meanwhile, out west, where we have a ridge of high pressure, that keeps those western states significantly drier and also milder as well. That's Christmas Day. So very cold across much of the north, northeast, east and midwest with that trough of low pressure. Although you notice that even by Christmas Day, the trough is beginning to retreat back in towards Canada. So it is only a very brief cold plunge. It's a severe cold plunge, but it's only a brief cold plunge, and then that low pressure and the cold air retreats away to Canada, and we get this ridge building here by the 27th of December. So that's a cold ridge. That will bring some very severe overnight frost initially, but then we start to see milder air beginning to move in around the western side of that ridge of high pressure, and milder air begins to pushing up from the south. So as we move on in towards the end of December, we look significantly milder then across most parts of America. Actually begins to turn a little bit colder in the far northwest, perhaps. So some slightly colder air coming to the far northwest. But meanwhile, further east, we have this ridge of high pressure, and we draw up this much milder southerly wind from the Gulf of Mexico. So a rapid thaw of snow is likely as we get into the latter stages of December, significantly milder then. So by the new year, it's cold in the northwestern part of the states with this ridge of high pressure in the Pacific. That starts to allow colder air to push down from Canada into the northwest. Meanwhile, the Midwest and the East so look a lot milder, drawing up wind from that southerly direction on into early January. There's not much sign of it turning cold. Maybe a little bit of a cold plunge again coming into the central parts of America there by the 4th of January, but no sign of like the polar vortex collapsing into North America as it's going to over Christmas. And a ridge off the east seaboard will keep many of those eastern parts of the states largely dry. That's the GFS model. This is how the ECM is looking. This is from a North Pole view, so this is North America just here. I'll just highlight it so you can see where it is. So that's like the Pacific coast of America there. That's the Atlantic eastern seaboard coast of America just there. So that's Christmas Eve. Again, we've got that big trough of low pressure plunging from Canada into eastern parts of the states. We have a really severe spell of weather coming up Christmas Day. By 26th of December and 27th, that cold air beginning to retreat back into Canada, and by the time we get through to New Year's Eve, turning much milder then, this area of high pressure building across those eastern parts of America. So again, it is only a brief cold plunge, and then we're off into milder conditions for the new year. But it would be very noteworthy. It is going to bring a white Christmas to much of the Midwest, much of the North, and much of the East of America. So anybody watching from the States, you're going to get a white Christmas if you're over there in the Midwest, in the East, and in the Northeast too. Well, let's have a look at the extended ECM then. So this is what we normally do on a Wednesday. And we're going to look at the mean sea pressure, 500 millibar height, temperature, and precipitation anomalies for America for the next 6 weeks. Starting off with week 1, which is going to be the 19th to 26th of December. So we've already established we've got this ridge across western parts of America with a trough of low pressure plunging into the east along with the jet stream. And that's bringing this blast of brutally cold air. Let's shut down these tabs, make it a little bit easier. Right, so we go to 500 millibar heights. Again, we see that we've got an area of above average heights, high pressure through the west. That keeps those western states largely dry and mild, but eastern, northern, northeast parts of America with this trough of low pressure sees the jet stream plunging southwards, and that brings this cold air into the north and into the east of the states. The temperature anomaly then, look at that, brutal cold through the Midwest and on into the east for week 1. Have to go all the way over to the far western side of America to find the temperature anomalies just a little bit above average up the west coast. But basically, it's a very, very cold week over Christmas through much of northern America. And of course, there's going to be precipitation with this trough of low and active cold front. So rain and heavy snow, blizzards likely through many of these northern, midwestern and eastern parts of America. Drier in the west and also drier across these southern states where we have that ridge of high pressure. Some heavy rain looks likely through Florida. A lot of people go to Florida, I think, get a little bit of Christmas sunshine. It looks like there's going to be quite a bit of wet weather through there this Christmas. Right, let's have a look at week 2, which will be the 26th of December to 2nd of January. That's how it looks with mean sea pressure anomaly. So the ridge moves to the eastern seaboard and out into the Atlantic. We find trough of low pressure coming into the west and into the northwest. This probably brings colder air into the northwest. Meanwhile, the east, though, probably starts turning milder with more of a southerly influence of 500 millibar height anomaly, looks like that. So we've got a ridge of above average heights actually through the west and up into the north. Still the legacy of the trough across the southern states and also another trough coming into the northwest as well. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. Is that recovering through week 2? So it's significantly warmer than average across those western portions of America. quite a warm week to come through there. Meanwhile, it is warming up a little bit in the northeast as well, so around these northeastern states can get a little bit warmer, but the Midwest still looks a bit cold, and the southeastern corner still looks rather cold as well. And the precipitation anomaly for week 2 looks like that. So wetter than average across these northwestern parts of America, drier than average in the states and over in the southern states, and also over on the eastern side of America. Week 3 will be the second, excuse me, again everyone, will be the 2nd to the 9th of January. Bit of a trough of low pressure perhaps in the east and off the west coast as well. Otherwise, weakening signals, I think, in the 3rd week. The 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So above average heights through those western and also northern states, and probably a trough through here, I suppose. There's got to be a trough somewhere, hasn't there, corresponding to the ridge. The temperature anomaly is warming up across many parts of America and also Canada as well. So above average temperatures in the west and into the Midwest too, and over towards the east. It looks like these southern southeastern states could be a little bit cooler perhaps. Now the precipitation anomaly looks like that, so weakening signal, but largely on the dry side, perhaps in the southeastern states and also in the north, a little bit more unsettled perhaps in the northeast and off the Pacific coast. Week 4 will be the 9th to 16th of January. Difficult to decipher, putting a couple of question marks. The 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So still that ridge of above average height sitting in the north and in the northwest. Is a trough off the east coast of America. What's happening with the temperature anomalies? So looking a little bit colder for those eastern coastal areas down here. Around the southeastern part of America towards the Atlantic coast. Otherwise, many central western areas though above average temperatures, as is the far north. And precipitation wise, we look like that. So largely on the drier than average side for many of these northern and eastern parts of America, possibly a little bit wetter though towards the Pacific coast. Week 5 will be the 16th, 23rd of January. So we've got some low pressure then across these eastern and southern parts of America. The 500 millibar height anomaly brings in a trough of below average heights into the north, so maybe that could be another plunge starting to take place around the middle part of January. Temperature anomaly cools down, so hinting at being a little bit on the cold side around the Great Lakes and in towards the Midwest, milder than average out west. That might be the next severe cold plunge around the middle part of January. Precipitation wise looks rather unsettled, perhaps a little bit above average precipitation, snow likely across the northern states, drier across the more southern states. And then lastly, week 6 will be the 23rd to the 30th of January. And that's how we look. So maybe the trough of low pressure has progressed into most southern states by that point. The 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So a ridge towards the far southwest, trough of low pressure still in the north and in the northeast. So that will keep cold weather going for those northern and northeastern states. The temperature anomaly, again, quite weak signals, but hints of being a little bit on the cold side around the Great Lakes. That would be more extensive than that through those northern and northeastern states, I think. And then out in the west, we've got above average temperatures then. Precipitation wise, finally, we look like that, and it's largely on the wetter side towards the northwest, drier though across the southern and also some eastern states. Obviously, by week 6, it's a long way out and very, very uncertain. Right, well, what about that then? Big old plunge coming into North America for Christmas. So those of you watching from the east, the north and the northeast and the midwest states, you're going to get a white Christmas. There could be plenty of snow, blizzards in places and severe cold. It's only going to last a couple of days' time, just perfectly, really, for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. By 26th of December, that will start to lift out, and by sort of Christmas to New Year, so like 28th, 29th, 30th December, it's going to be thawing out. The ice and snow will rapidly thaw, and it's going to get a lot milder. enjoy this Christmas if if you're celebrating, and happy holidays. Not sure we'll do USA forecast next week. It's Christmas week, so I tend to pare things back a little bit over Christmas. So the next USA forecast will probably be in a couple of weeks' time, I would have thought, when we're nicely into 2023. I'll be back later on with a live 10 to 14 day. That'll be from 6 p.m. Live streamings, our 10 to 14 day update. So I shall see you then for that one. For this week's USA forecast, so that's all for now, and thanks for watching.